Well, if any of you have practiced at least certain styles of meditation, you're probably familiar with the the effort that is applied to trying to control your attention in some way, direct your attention, control it, keep it focused, and so on. Um, I did such style of practice for several decades, and obviously, such practices have their place and their benefit, and I experienced that to some extent in my own life. Um, I don't think I realized it at the time when I was engaging in those practices that for me at least they were reinforcing they were actually reinforcing separation. They were reinforcing the idea of um, some phenomena being it and some phenomena being a distraction from it, what I was looking for. And so I'd like to just invite you into a different sort of approach to dealing with your attention, which is to let your attention go wherever it wants to go. It's going to do that anyway, no matter how hard we try to control it. And it just kind of dances and flickers around. It seems that sort of its nature. Sometimes it seems like it's more stabilized onto something, either just happens to be drawn into something and kind of stabilizes there, or we direct it in some way and try to hold it onto something. But just as we're sitting here together, I just want you to notice that wherever your attention happens to land, and it will land seemingly in many different places, many different qualities it will visit, many different dimensions of experience it will seem to visit just sitting here for a few moments together. But no matter where attention alights, whatever it alights upon, like a butterfly landing somewhere for a moment, it's always landing on being most primally because it happens upon something that's there, that's arising in the field of experience, right? And that which it is landing upon, that phenomena, is, right? So it's always landing on being. In that sense, I happened upon just very briefly before the meeting, someone was guiding this meditation, and just listened to a few seconds of it. And it was like kind of resting and being. And then if the mind drifts off to something else, come back to resting and being. And that's partly what prompted me to share what I'm sharing. Um, to notice that wherever you drift off to, so to speak, where attention happens to wander or drift, as it will do, it's always drifting, never away from being. It's always drifting into being, into if you prefer the word awareness, there's synonyms from my standpoint, knowing and being. It's always landing in the knowing of that moment, that knowing of that aspect of the moment, right? So you wander off into some memory or some fantasy, so-called attention wanders, and it wanders into being and knowing. And that, you see what I mean? Everywhere, everywhere you go, you find the same thing. You always find being, knowing, which is a singular. The moment always is, and the moment is always known. The moment always is, and it's always known no matter how it appears. That's what I'm inviting you to look at and notice. The impossibility of anything else. So in that sense, you can just let the being and the knowing be effortless as it is effortless. And no matter how reality is shaping itself, it is being knowing, you see? So this thing that we do, like in practices often of like separating ourselves out, and there's this stuff, and then here's my attention, I'm going to direct it, hold it, direct it, hold it, keep it from moving around too much. See what I mean? It's like, no, there's just reality constantly altering itself, seemingly. and always being knowing. So um, you could say there's just attention. Is that something to direct? There's just attention, you see? Just knowing, just being. Never drifting away from this knowing, because that's not possible. Always, you could say, if you want to say there's a drifting, it's knowing drifting into knowing, attention drifting into attention, being drifting into being. That pure knowing, that effortless knowing, that effortless attention, that's just the ground of everything. Just, you could say, reality noticing itself can look like being caught up in some stream of thinking, as we will often describe it. But that is pure attention. Nothing's, this never loses itself, you see? Not really. It never loses itself in any particular experience. It never loses itself in so-called mind wandering. It can't lose itself because it is what exists. It is this miracle of being, knowing. If there's something to notice, it's notice that there's only noticing. You see? When are you ever not noticing? When is there ever something other than noticing? You see? It's like, that's what I mean. The noticing never loses itself in something that it is being noticed. Because whatever's being noticed, there is a noticing. Do you see? That's what I mean. It's just not losable. So it doesn't need to be controlled. It doesn't need to be manipulated. It doesn't need to be created somehow. Just let it be that effortless. You see how it's never lost? Where would it go? This, whatever you want to call it, this inexplicable shining forth of this. Where's it going to go? If everything were to somehow just vanish and there was nothing, quote unquote, then that would be this. It's just does not, it's the single soul reality. It's not going to go anywhere. It is this that is everything. And so, as I said at the outset, everywhere what you might call your attention might travel in the vast field of experience, it always lands upon the same fundamental knowing. You could say it's the knowing, the attention. See, the attention's traveling around, so of course it always finds itself everywhere because it's what's traveling around. It's traveling around itself, the noticing traveling around itself. It's always seeing itself. It's always beholding itself, always finding itself. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. No matter where it goes. The butterfly of attention always alights upon this one thing, no matter what it looks like. Pleasant, painful, it's always alighting on being. To your question, how would I define knowing? The moment is known. In other words, it's being registered. Not knowledge of like, I know that 2 plus 2 equals 4. It's not that. Knowing is synonymous with the perceiving function of reality, right? It's perceiving, that's knowing. So everywhere you go, everywhere attention wanders, it always is perceiving, right? There's just perceiving in all the myriad ways it shows up, right? But at the heart of each momentary appearance is the knowing of that moment, right? What else is there? It's like at the heart of each moment is the moment being known. Not because we're doing something to crank up the knowing, it just simply is.